Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? Hey, today, due to some little bit of technical difficulty, we won't have Seth on the show, but we got me and Larry gonna hold it down with a special guest today. So we're very excited about this show, man. Hey, Larry, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. How you? I'm on leave all week, so I'm excited. It's like every day is a Friday until I go back to work now.
Man, every day's been leave for me since retirement so far, man. I've been doing good, man. Had an exciting weekend. Hit that No Limit concert this time, man.
I heard that, man. How was it? I seen all the photos you've been posting on the book.
Bro, man, it was unbelievable, man. I'm out there chilling with Mia X and all them cats sitting down talking with Mr. Servon, like personally. I'm like, this is insane. Mia X bought me and my wife's concert tickets to go to the show, man.
I saw the picture. She looks good to be her age, man. So did they rock out though? I mean, was it like 1990s No Limit?
They did, man. I saw, they did a really good job with this show, man. And the Nashville crowd brought a whole lot of energy. And for them to be that age, man, they finished that up and went off and did the same thing down to Memphis the next night. That's crazy.
Because they was getting a bad rap early on. They were saying the energy wasn't there when they first started.
Man, they must have popped some B12 or something and came out there and killed it. But man, enough about that, man. Hey, so this show here, first off, we want to acknowledge that it is Native American Heritage Month. And so we wanted to bring something special to the table. You know what I'm saying? As we have Thanksgiving coming around the corner. And although it's a holiday for everybody, and it's time that we get together as family, you know what I mean, and have a nice dinner with each other. Some folks might not feel like that's a day that, that really cements that. And so we wanted to bring a special guest on today to talk about the meaning of Thanksgiving and other things for the Native American people here in the United States. So I want everybody to give a warm welcome to Standing Bear. What's going on, Standing Bear? Is he Standing Bear? You with us? Hold on, Seth. Is Seth still with us?
Yo. All right. So he hit.
Standing Bear, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. I don't even know if he knows we live.
Hey, so this is a little bit of the technical difficulties we've been talking about. He doesn't know that we're live.
Yeah, let me see if I can get him in the chat.
I might ping him a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, let him know we're live. This is what happens when we live, though, so bear with us, people.
Hey, this is what happens when we live. Standing Bear, you with us? You there? Can you see us?
He's looking. Can you hear us, Standing Bear?
Hold on.
I don't think he can hear us. Can you hear us, Standing Bear?
Oh, Lord. Hey, people, would you give us 1 second, please?
Hello. Yeah, I can't see you.
Can you hear us? I can't see us.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right, folks, bear with us, man. We want to get him in real quick. He's having a little bit of technical difficulties. But, hey, we talked to him pre-show. This is going to be a pretty enlightening show. So give us 1 minute to get this together.
Absolutely.
Yo.
Well, as we do that, man, what's your plans for the week? You staying home or what?
All right. Now, let's see. We're going to try this one more again. Ready?
Hey.
Yo, what's going on, man? Can you see us?
I can see you. I can even hear you.
I
saw a bunch of spinning wheels of name there.
I gave you the best introduction I ever gave a person. I gave it to you. And then we paying over to you on your phone.
He's sitting there texting on the phone.
I couldn't hear or see anybody, man. I'm just sitting there kind of waiting, like, okay, they're doing their like introductions, they're doing their, man, they're doing their thing over there. And I said, well, let them do their thing over there. So,
we are
on.
Hey, who all before we get started? Who all can you see in here right now?
I can see you, and I can see Larry. Yeah.
Okay. So you can't see Will. All right. So
Will is it?
Hey. So
okay. We'll just.
So here's what we talked about. I talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying in the introduction that we acknowledge that it is Native American Heritage Month. You know what I'm saying, and we're going to talk about Native American history, and then also Thanksgiving is around the corner. And while it's a big American holiday where people feel like it's a time for families to get together and be thankful for what they've been given, not everybody might not feel the same way about that holiday. You know, I've always wondered what Native Americans, how they felt about that holiday and how it's celebrated. What goes through their mind when that holiday is brought up?
Well, we want the truth to be told, spiritual integrity, right? And there's a colonial narrative out there, and then there's the indigenous, what is more in alignment with, the truth and everything. And we're kind of a little tired of, that truth, kind of like the Pilgrims and the Indians getting together. And it was like this kind of love fest, which is the way it should have been, but it really wasn't that way at all. It was about murder and, land grabbing, stuff like that. And then they had a big feast afterwards. So, we would like to see, the truth be told. And, like the history of the continent of Turtle Island, the continent of, North America, we would really love to see that. That history told, and but the fact is, it's not really in alignment with that colonial narrative, and quite frankly, the truth should be told no matter what. That's what that's what we're looking for, and that's what I'm hopeful for. Whether I'll ever see it, I really don't know. But the thing is, this is about being in alignment with everything beautiful, right? And we're not in alignment with everything beautiful if we're still telling our little one the lies right there. It's much easier to believe the lies than to understand the truth. So most of today's educational system just takes that truth that everything was good between the Indians and the Pilgrims and all of that, and it really wasn't like that at all. So,
right. Do you feel like there's any steps going forward? You know what I'm saying, to get that truth out? Do you feel like the Native people's voices are being heard when it comes to this?
Yeah, that's one of the first things that my ancestors talk about. My immediate ancestors is, let's get that, how unpalatable it is for the colonial the establishment to understand. It's a really simple truth to understand, and let's get through this and let's talk about this, and let's get through this together. I'm all about doing stuff together, man. The principle behind Thanksgiving is being grateful, and let's just keep that right where it is. But what I'm really saying here is, I think we're capable of telling the truth.
What's up, Larry?
Hey, Standing Bear, I got a question while we're talking about ancestry and all that. Let's keep it within the same realm and talk about how are the traditions passed down? Because for African Americans, it's really hard for us to trace our ancestries to a certain extent because it's just too choppy for us. But for Native Americans, are you able to trace back, as far back as whatever that may be, and are you able to?
Absolutely.
Is there anything, stories, traditions that kind of stick out that you would like to share with us?
Certain, traditions. We have a beautiful life, in the indigenous culture. And, let me just share this. There's like 1,500 tribes in like North America, right? So like the way I do it, the way my traditions do it may be a little different than say the tribes in the lower 48 type thing. And you know, let's just agree right now that every tradition is good. You know, every tradition that those tribes has is you know, there's basically there's so many ways to do it right. You know, like so many ways to say a good prayer like that. So let's just kind of agree on that. So you know, we have a history. Our history evolves around what we would call the medicine wheel, and really being in alignment. And you know, our ceremonies and traditions are in alignment with what we would call the ancient sacred agreements of harmony and balance. That's living in the confines of what we would call and the colonial world would call natural law, you know, and so our traditions keep those ceremonies alive, the living within the confines of, you know, harmony and balance. There's really not one. You know, there's so many ceremonies that have so many different aspects. You know, it's really kind of hard to break down just one thing and just say, hey, you know, this is it right there. You know, and you know, there's feminine ceremonies, there's male ceremonies, and there's community ceremonies, but they're all in alignment with one thing.
Okay. I don't know if you can see Big Will. Can you see Big Will?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Will.
Hey, what's going on, Standing Bear? Pleasure for you being on the show with us this evening. I want to more so talk about.
Yeah, I can't see him now. Yeah, can't see him now. Just
but can you hear me?
So, but you know, let me just kind of finish up that one statement. Was you know, the celebration of life is most important. That's the essence of every ceremony that we go to. You know, without life, we have nothing. Mm-hmm. We have nothing. Every ceremony begins with the prayer of that absolute celebration of life.
Gotcha. That's deep.
Awesome.
You got to ask your question right there. Yeah, go ahead, Will.
I appreciate your transparency, and brother.
Maybe Will can put it in the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
When Will ask the question, I'm gonna ask it for him. Go ahead, Will.
Oh yeah,
I got you.
Oh. More so, how do you teach children that go to school and learn what the school is teaching you, and how do you combat that with the truth as to what really happened throughout the history of your people?
All right, he just dropped it. Hold on.
All right, so not sure what's popping, man. I think, hold on, here we go. 1 minute.
Okay, we're back. Okay, kind of kicked up for a second. Okay.
All right. So here was the question. The question was, how do you combat what was being taught in schools, and what the real lesson is? You know what I'm saying? What really happened as far as y'all's history and traditions?
How do we combat that? Like, how did I do it when I was little?
Yeah, like you know, the schools tell you one thing about how history. Yeah,
right.
Like how?
Well, here's. That's a beautiful question, and let me follow that up with kind of like a story that really epitomizes what the colonial culture does and how it kind of relates and sees the indigenous population. When I was 5, I grew up in like the 80s. I was in grade school in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. And we had this class called social studies class. I don't know if you had that class. I don't know if this still happens now, but we were in like 5th grade or something. And I was in like middle of like Ohio or something, Bowling Green, Ohio. And they kind of opened up your social studies books, and we were starting a new chapter. And it was and the chapter was how the Westwood won, and how the Cowboys defeated the savage Indians type thing. And so, you can imagine what that does to like the psyche of an indigenous person. When they read that, I read that and I looked around the room and I saw nothing but white faces in there. I saw nothing but white faces. There was a handful, black students in there, but it was primarily, white students, and they all looked at me, and from that moment on, I had a target on my back. target. So now they thought that I was less than before, but now they know I'm less than because, you know, the social studies class said, hey, look, you know, these guys are savages over there. Hey, man, that, you know, that Indian looking guy, man, he's a savage now. So, you know, well, we can go after him now. So, you know, needless to say, you know, recess and lunchtime became very, very interesting times for, you know, like a young indigenous boy just kind of survive. And, you know, this is about survival right here, and it wasn't about thriving at all growing up. So, you know, when you said what was it like, kind of growing up as a indigenous youth, you know, it's, you know, that's the kind of thing that the colonial schools kind of gave me to hey, this is, you know, and I don't even know what they say now about, you know, indigenous. I couldn't tell you the history. I mean, I couldn't tell you what they teach now, but, you know, I almost guarantee it's not the truth.
Yeah. Ain't it crazy that y'all are the ones that are native to this land, but made to be the bad guys? You know what I'm saying? And all the movies and TV shows and stuff like that, y'all portrayed as the aggressors and the crazy ones.
Well, that's the colonial narrative. You see, you have to get, you know, there's mindsets going on here. And I want you to wrap your head around it just for a second. And, you know, there's that colonial mindset, right? And of the colonial, of like the invaders, right? And then the colonial mindset is based on being adversarial, right? So, you know, the colonial world is really good about blame, shame, guilt, you know, and plus label too. You know, so, you know, they can't blame, shame, guilt you, they will label you. So, you know, we live in a very adversarial society, right, left, up, down, and, you know, Democrat, Republican, this, that, and, you know, if you're gay, you're over here. If you're black, you're over there. If you're Asian, you're over here. You know, all these labels and little boxes that world wants us to be in that we just don't fit in. We, you know, as indigenous, we don't fit in like any box. You know, kind of square peg round hole type thing. You know, we just don't fit. You know. And, you know, the only way that it can make us fit is by putting us out on, you know, reservations type. You know, and just say, hey, look, you know, good luck out there. You know, good luck. We're not going to give you any social assistance, but, you know, good luck out there. You know, so
I want to go a little bit more into deeper history. You know, we call it America, right? And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was like over 1,500 native tribes here in America. Right. Before. Now, did y'all all have communication, or did y'all treat it all as independent nations? What did y'all call this land before we named it America?
Well, we called it Turtle Island. That's a great question. We called it Turtle Island. Most every tribe from the East Coast to the West Coast called it Turtle Island. You know, and you know, let's just say this here too. Like the numbers I said, 1,500. There's only 608, you know, federally recognized tribes out there. But that's just kind of ridiculous because we know there's so many more tribes out there that are state recognized and have to, you know, apply for recognition. You know, I don't see any other culture or people in this country applying for any kind of recognition. You know, but the indigenous, you know, we have to have a status card in order for us to be officially, you know, Indians. You know, I don't see any white people or black people having, you know, official, you know, status card. Here, man, let me show you my status card. You ready? This is what makes me officially. This is what makes me an official, you know, you know, like imagine if black people had, you're not black unless you have this card. You know, you're not Asian unless you have this card. You're not Irish unless you have this card, man. You're not Italian unless you have this card. You're not Portuguese unless you have this card. You're not Spanish unless you have this card. Just think about that for a second, man. What does that do to a psyche of the indigenous, saying that we're the only population that has to have a card in order to be officially recognized?
That's separatism.
What does that say to you? Hey, man, you're not black until you have a card, man.
Yeah.
Is that
you ain't black, man?
Money?
No. Hey, man, you ain't white until you have a white card.
What was that, Larry? What was that, Will?
So, you know, is having the card
what would that do?
Type of financial obligation from the government?
Just kind of like, you know, this is like kind of puts hate in your heart, right? Kind of puts hate in your heart. But the thing is, and let me go back to my background a little bit. I don't know if your viewers can kind of know my background. I'm a genocide survivor. So that means that the Canadian government came and stole me from the arms of my mom, the hospital that I was born in, without consent, stole me, put me in a van and put me 800 miles away in a Catholic-run orphanage. And then I went into Catholic-run foster care and all that. And then the Catholics sold me to a white American family in the States. So that's how I became born in Canada and then a U.S. citizen right here. So that's kind of like the 2 second background to what I was going through. So
got you, bro. Yo,
so
hey, I think Will had a question. What was that, Will?
It was more so the car that he had, is that tied to some type of financial obligation from the government as to why they need to have one?
So the card that you have, is it tied to anything? Like, does it like a financial obligation or some kind of privilege card? What's the need for the card?
What card? This card?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have? Why do they issue?
No, it's like why the issue is it's so they can label me. This is a label right here. It's what the label looks like.
So it doesn't give. There's no benefit attached to it. It's just.
Well, there's supposed to be. There's supposed to be treaty rights like attached to it. I can go into Canada anytime I want because I'm of indigenous status type thing, and there's supposed to be certain privileges, healthcare rights that we would normally have, with this. But everything's minimal. Don't think that. Don't think there's anything. Nobody's getting rich being an Indian. Let me put that out there right here. We don't, most of us don't have casino revenue money to kind of fall back on. It's just kind of like, it's too, this is kind of like an insult, right? So, one of the treaty rights that we have is, and, let's not all run to the bank at the same time. I get $5 a year.
Okay.
I get $5 a year.
$5 a year.
$5 a year.
By
yeah,
who?
yeah.
He said $5 by who?
a year.
Is it the Canadian government or the U.S.
Canadian
government?
government? The Canadian government gives you $5 a year because of treaty rights.
Wow, they give you more than that. Now that's
So
that.
let's just put that into perspective. But one of those things that I really did want to touch on is I do a lot of talks about indigenous spirituality, what it is, because people don't know us. They don't know what we do, how we do it, or like why we do it. And so I made it my life's mission to go out and to celebrate indigenous culture in a general way. So my future ancestors don't have to go through what I went through. So my people don't have to go through what I went through. So, and we don't have to be talking about, so we don't have to be digging up any more babies because they went to, Catholic front orphanages. That our culture can stand on its own 2 feet. We can walk without language, have culture, and, be happy again, which is really what we all want. And we don't want to be rich. We don't want to be this. We just want to be happy. We want to speak our own language. We want to go to ceremony without being threatened. We don't want to walk around, with status cards or worried about getting $5. We want our children to be happy. We want our children to feel safe. We want the next 7 generations. We want those kids to have a place of ceremony. And we want those kids to have a place of absolute love, knowing that when they go to ceremony, that they can speak their language and that they can feel safe.
Right.
Everything that was taken away from me, they took. So in like my little way here, I do a lot of traveling, brothers. I do a lot of traveling, and I talk about this celebration that is indigenous communities. That is indigenous. I am so proud to be indigenous, man. They took that away from me. They took that away from me. you know. And you know, I was the one to bring that back into my own life. And hey, let's really celebrate something here. Let's celebrate life. Let's celebrate the circle. Let's celebrate Mother Earth. Let's celebrate the medicine. Let's celebrate all these things that, you know, my ancestors couldn't celebrate. And you know, let me remind you of this too. It wasn't until 1978 that we had our spiritual rights returned. Right? So before 1978, guess what? We could not go to ceremony, could not speak our own language, you know. Imagine if they did that to the Catholics. Imagine if they did that to the Christians.
Right.
You cannot celebrate, you know, Easter. You cannot celebrate Christmas. You will go to jail. We will shoot you. We will put you in jail if you go to any kind of celebration. Well, that's what they did to the indigenous culture. That's what they did. And, you know, so the people of the generation before me, and you know, those medicine men of women, they carried this beautiful, beautiful place, this beautiful, beautiful ceremony with the fear of death at every ceremony that they went to, that this might be their last. Think about that for a second.
No doubt. So,
think about that for a second. Hey, this may be my last ceremony because they, you know, because the Royal Canadian Mounted Police might come and shoot us. You know, right? Wow. We may go to jail. You know, a lot of our medicine men and women are still in jail for doing and talking about what I'm talking about here: the celebration of life, the celebration that is everything, the celebration being in alignment with that. You know, putting ourselves, placing ourselves into the language. Yeah.
I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit, and I appreciate you being transparent in your feelings on that. I want to talk about, I don't know if Canada offers this, but I know it's in the U.S., the Indian reservations. What are your thoughts on the Indian reservations, and was that, because I don't know the history of it. I could easily Google it, but I just want to hear from you. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know it's like compensation for the atrocities that was, you know, done previously, but what do you
I don't know any other people that would have to be put on reservations. You know, it goes back to the status card, the treaty card here. I don't know any other people that the U.S. government felt like they had to put on, you know, reservation, internment camp, stuff like that. They don't invest in the infrastructure inside the reservations, the schools. There's no opportunities. There's no place for, you know, economic growth. You know, most, you know, there's a good percentage of reservations that don't have clean water.
Wow.
Clean water. They have water that you can light a match and the water comes out fire. You know, these are some of the things that would they do this in like a white development? This is about social and economic well-being here.
Okay. And that's good because a lot of us don't know that.
Yeah, and I have no real insight on the reservation, but we're gonna have to jump to a break real quick. Standing Bear, we got more show coming on. Everybody, if y'all feeling this content, please share it, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of things that we probably never really heard of before. Yeah. So share it with the folks so we can get that information out there. See y'all back in a second.
Monique Slater is a top negotiating, award-winning real estate agent in San Antonio, Texas. Her focus is on educating and empowering individuals on building general wealth through homeownership while providing exponential service with integrity and excellence. Although her heart is for serving first-time homeowners and the military community, her clientele ranges from $100,000 to $2.5 million. Monique has developed an awesome team that can get anyone into a home and has sold homes in less than 6 hours. After servicing the Air Force for over 28 years, retired Chief Slater has a massive network, so she can connect you with an awesome agent anywhere in the U.S. And if you're in San Antonio or relocating there, give Monique a call first to help you find your dream home. Give Monique a call at 210-237-7268.
One thing we can cherish during these times is family dinners. Think about it, the nice, succulent southern fried chicken, baked beans cooked to perfection, creamy macaroni and cheese, cornbread. You get the point. Come check out Kevlar's Grill, where all the meals are cooked with perfection, professionalism, and love. Located outside the Scott Air Force Base back gate inside the VFW is where you can find them. Also, they have military discount for all of our serving members. Give them a call. Their number is 618-416-5700, and that's inside Scott VFW, post 4183. And they also have Grubhub. Call them now and tell them that the Lion's Den sent you. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Seth with the Lion's Den. Are you or someone you know looking for a tool to help them be more accountable? Check out the Black Collar Mindset, the Art of Strategic Thinking. It's a manual to help maneuver through life strategically by holding yourself accountable every step of the way. Go to theblackcollarmindset.com to grab your copy today. Again, the website is theblackcollarmindset.com. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Let's get it together.
Yo. What's going on, man? What you think about what we got going on so far?
Hey, man, it's good information, stuff that I didn't know about, stuff I wasn't, just informed on. And I mean, he's really, really hammering out like some ugly secrets, basically. Let's just keep it honest and blunt. Some ugly secrets that is still affecting, Native Americans to this day.
One thing that I learned is that, people said, like reservations, was a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, hey, they got reservations. But then, I was thinking, it never really sounded like a great thing to me. It sounded like a jail that you could come back and forth to freely. Well, that was just my thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. What's that?
Yeah.
What's that stuff there? Is that Sage? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, yo, Standing Bear. Okay. Make him the big screen, Seth. Make him the big screen.
We back yet?
Yeah, we're back.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can only hear you, Larry. So
he was asking what was that you was putting in the stream?
This is sage right here. This is a little white sage bundle, and a little what we would call smudging. It's a spiritual cleanse. It's a physical cleanse. So it's one of those traditional things I like to do. So So a little smudge for everybody out there. Little love here. So
appreciate it.
Hey, see if you can go back and come back in.
Again, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I don't know if I said that yet, but I appreciate you having me on. So
we appreciate it. Are you able to log out and log back in real quick? Because Herm can't hear you. You can't hear Herm.
No, I can't hear you. Let me log.
We got Seth working hard for the money in the background, don't we?
I know, right? he earned all them big dollars.
He working hard for the money back there.
Yeah. I'm still backstage.
I don't know, man. I think Spence need to put. He back there.
Man, he logged out and logged back in, so hopefully he can hear one of us when he comes back.
So both of y'all can hear me, correct?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We hear you.
We can hear you the whole time.
He can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because he's on his. I think it's because he's on the cell phone. Hey, who can you see?
I can see you and hear you. So good.
Me and who else?
Larry. Can't see Will.
Okay.
They can't see Will.
We're gonna get it one day.
We're gonna press. So, quick question for you, real quick, about the religious and spirituality, right?
Okay.
You mentioned there was a whole lot of tribes, about 1,500 roughly, that was in the Northern American area, right? What is the religious or spiritual practices that was unique to maybe your tribe, and what is something about Native American spirituality that most people who are not from the native culture probably really have misconstrued or really don't understand?
Beautiful question. Our spirituality is based off of Mother Earth, based in alignment with those ancient sacred agreements of harmony and balance. I just showed you a little medicine to help keep us in alignment, with that harmony and balance. Let's just take sage real quick. Let's just we know now, science has figured out that what the sage smoke is, it actually cleanses the air, right? It cleanses the air of, viruses, kind of important these days, bacteria, so what it does in the physical world, the medicine also does in the spiritual world. You see, because we know that they have to mirror each other, right? And so what it does, if it cleans the physical world, it also has to clean the spiritual world. And so that's why we start the day with a little. That's why we start the day with like a little smudge. One, there's other things too. Those basic like a basic spiritual teaching is that indigenous spirituality. We do a lot of offering type thing, and it's not like any kind of colonial idea of offering. What we do is we offer tobacco. Tobacco is sacred to us. This is a bag of tobacco right here. And so if we were to say a prayer when we start our day, when we ask for something, when we say something in prayer, it is traditional that we make an offering for our prayers to be heard. And you see, because we understand that asking without offering is spiritual stealing. Mm. We don't have to. The colonial world is basically sitting out there, with their colonial religions, with their patriarchal religions, and just kind of sitting there with a hand out. But I need a better job. So whatever God you are, please put that in. I need more money. I need better tires. I need better silverware. I need, whatever I need. There's really no offering there given. So when the indigenous spirituality understands and, creates, we're trying to maintain and create some sort of spiritual cycle, some sort of, wisdom. Everything is done in a circle, in a cycle, like the moon cycle of the day. The earth is round, the sun is round, the moon goes around the sun. Everything is done in a circle. There's cycles there. And we want to live within those confines, those beautiful confines of that cycle. And one of the ways we do that is we make an offering for our prayers to be heard. Okay. In the sweat lodge ceremony, the ceremony that my elder has given me the right to pour is, it's kind of like, you would say, kind of the colonial would say, it's like a sauna with a bunch of hot rocks in there. But really the essence of that is we go into the womb of Mother Earth. We go into the very first environment that we were ever in. And we offer the one thing that we can really offer is ourselves for our prayers to be heard. I don't know of any other religion that offers their body, their sweat, everything for their prayers to be heard. And these aren't personal prayers of wants and needs. These are circle prayers. These are community prayers. I want Mother Earth to be healthy so that my future ancestors have a safe place to go. They have clean drinking water. They have clean air. These are some of the prayers, and kind of the forward thing. We don't say any prayer without consulting the future 7 generations and whether it will affect them or not. Okay. The next 7 generations. That's why we're here, to take care of, love, promote. So so they have a good place to live. So they have a clean land to live on. They don't live on a landfill. They don't drink radioactive water. They don't drink water filled with all sorts of medication and stuff like that. They don't drink water full of acetone, something like that. We want a safe place for our children to pray, so that their children will have a safe place to pray. We borrow the earth from our ancestors, from the future.
That is pretty deep. When you talk about the sacrifice part, I love that. I love that concept. You know what I'm saying? Of bringing something to the table to sacrifice. If you're going to ask for something, what are you willing to sacrifice for it? Like, so now when you talk about the tobacco, are you like what do you do to the tobacco when you sacrifice it?
Well, we just make an offering. So basically, an offering, a prayer would look like something like this. Pinch goes a long way. I say a morning prayer every morning. Say, Creator, teach me how to live in a good way. Teach me those things that I need to learn today. Teach me how to walk in beauty. Teach me how to speak in beauty. Teach me how to look at things beautifully. Teach me how to treat the sacred feminine. How about that one? Treat the sacred feminine as equal, as sacred, and not only as our partners, a lustful, whatever that is, but as spiritual partners walking in this beautiful journey that we call life. Our indigenous family communities know that we can't do this without the sacred feminine, the help of the sacred feminine. We are walking on the sacred feminine right now. We are walking on Mother Earth right now. We are a part of Mother Earth. We are part of Mother Earth, the culture that is Mother Earth. And the thing is, the colonial world has really kind of forgotten that. They take Mother Earth as a resource instead of a spiritual responsibility. I take the love of Mother Earth very, very seriously. And that's a beautiful thing. And I do that with tobacco and I do that with the sage and I do that with the prayer feather and I do this with the flute. Everything is that surrounds Native spirituality is to help us be in alignment with all those things beautiful and all those things sacred, including the next seventh generation. When's the last time you thought about making this world a better place for the next 7 generations? Well, we as indigenous, this is our daily prayer. We never go very far or stray very far from this prayer. In fact, many of us and many of my elders would say that the prayer is not finished until we say prayers for the next 7 generations.
That's interesting, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
It's a lot to take in, brothers.
Yeah, it is. Being in tune with nature and using nature for
but
what
if you just sit with us a little bit, if you sit with us a little bit, so big and so magnificent, man, it can't help but make your heart explode. It can't help but do that. It can't help but sit there and be like, oh my God, I want my son, daughters, and kids to have a beautiful, beautiful place. And I can be a part of that right here, right now. We can do this together right here, right now. And I don't care what background you're from. We need everybody on the firing line here, black, white, red, yellow. We need everybody on the firing line. Indigenous spirituality isn't only for indigenous culture. Right. This is for the culture of humanity. Right. Let me say it again. This is for the culture of humanity, so that we may have a future. That's why I go around the world and I talk about this stuff. This isn't indigenous stuff. We are all indigenous of Earth. We all have to learn to live in alignment with everything beautiful, with the sacred feminine, with the water, with the air, with the future 7 generation, sitting with that fire, listening, learning, understanding how to listen. You see, we have forgotten, even as a species, as a colonial species, how to even listen. You know, we think listening comes from our ears. Listening is the first form of communication, and we're so busy running our mouth, listening to CNN, you know, doing this, doing that, that we've completely forgot how to listen. I love this way of life. I am passionate about this way of life because it has changed my life.
You know what? You couldn't have said that any better. And I feel like if a lot of people believe like you know what I'm saying, and the indigenous people, man, we would make this world a better place. But my man Larry do have a question for you. Can you see Larry right now?
Yeah. Can you hear me at least?
Just relay the message. Okay. Yeah, just relay the message.
I got it. Yeah, I just wanted to know what during this time frame, this week, this holiday week coming up, what do they do as a tribe?
Okay.
Like, how do they celebrate it? Whether it's mourners or are they, you know, I know they're not celebrating Thanksgiving like we do, but what is this week about? Like, when this week comes around, what do you guys? How do you guys treat this week?
So here's the question. The question is, instead of, I don't know, I'm assuming that the native people, the indigenous people, are not celebrating Thanksgiving. I don't know for sure, but if it's not that, is there any kind of celebration that goes this week? This week in place of that?
Our ceremonies, and this is for the most part, and I can't obviously speak for every traditional tribe out there. It would be impossible for me to do that, but I can teach you my perspective, and my perspective is most traditionalists will not celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, that's kind of like a colonial narrative. That's kind of like living the lie right there. And, you know, living the pilgrims were you know, fun-loving and fluffy, and, you know, the Wampanoag nations and, you know, all those nations over there, the pilgrims, you know, were associated with, you know, there were, you know, rainbows, and, you know, they were loving rainbows too. And you know, that's the colonial narrative. And, you know, the real thing is, you know, the reason why we have our ceremonies, we don't need a special day to celebrate life. Do not need that. You know, our ceremonies are based on the sun, the solstice, the moon, you know, all these beautiful things that represent a beautiful life. And that, again, that we want to be a part of that beautiful life. And we as indigenous, we understand that we are human, and sometimes that we are flawed and fallible. We weren't perfect people, you know, growing up here on Turtle Island. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that happen. But, you know, the thing is, our ceremonies were based on being in alignment with harmony and balance, living by natural law. That is the ceremony. Like if you're thinking about it, you know, celebrating gratitude is a good thing, or whatever Christmas is, you know, that's a good thing too. You know, New Year's celebration, new beginnings, you know, that's a new thing. Let me remind you that, you know, every day is a celebration. Every day is a celebration of life. Every sunrise is a celebration of new beginnings. It tells us it doesn't have to be the way it always was. Every breath tells us, hey, look, this is a place for, you know, new beginnings. We're here to celebrate life, because without life, we have nothing. And so when we celebrate when a simple, you know, a simple prayer like this, you know, with a little tobacco pouch, you know, that's a celebration too. It doesn't have to be some sort of, you know, cosmetic, superficial, you know, holidays celebrating lives. Man, if you want to do that, that's fine. You know, I'm going to love you anyway. I mean, I'm going to love you. That's my job is to love you. I mean, I understand you and why you're doing it. To love you regardless, man. You know, hey, man, this is what we do to live a good life. And I think a lot of people out there are real confused about what a good life is, because they're stuck with the confines of, you know, what that colonial narrative tells them that is a good life. a good life. It's good life.
I hear you, bro.
Freedom. It's knowing that everything's going to be okay. Good life, a good day. A good day is knowing that I did everything I could to make my life better and to make my kids' life better, and to make them 7th generation. A good day is taking care of Mother Earth. A good day is honoring her. A good day is celebrating, the sacred feminine, our sacred women, our sacred women.
So, Standing Bear, can you hear me? Hey, I think you okay. So, not to cut you off, but we got 2 important questions to ask you before our hour is up. So the first one I want to ask you about, because we talked about it backstage a little bit, it's something I ain't know nothing about, but you talked about the color orange and the significance that it means to the indigenous people. So I want you to talk to the audience about what the color orange means for the indigenous people, please.
The color orange, it's kind of like it's new within the last couple of years, and it really represents those children that were in the residential schools. Like a little background, you may not know that indigenous populations were forced to go to Catholic-run, faith-based as a form of assimilation, which was indoctrination, to take the Indian out of the Indian and make the Indian more palatable, more spiritually, emotionally, physically palatable to what we would call the gray hairs, like the white people, right? And so we had to act, and we had to act. So they sent us to residential boarding schools, like Catholic-run, church-run boarding schools, and they were havens for pedophiles, from the church, and a lot of children that went there never came home. And this is not hundreds. We are into the thousands right now. We are into 7,000 children, over 7,000 children that have never come home from Catholic and Christian residential schools. So the color orange symbolizes that the coming home, and representing that journey home, representing that there's a problem there, representing that love that is there for those children that never came home. So thank you.
I know anything about that you bringing that to our attention, and I hope there is more spotlight on that, because that is something that needs to be addressed. But the next question we got is from Big Will, and he asked, because I always wanted to know this too, in regards to the reservations around the U.S., what roles do the casinos play in the economy around different reservations?
That's a great question too. And, casinos, generate money. They can generate jobs. They generate infrastructure. They generate, chances and opportunities for jobs and education and, administration and, all this stuff too. Casino revenue does some good, that does, some good. I'm here in Florida, so, my Seminole brothers, they're doing very, Seminole brothers, sisters, they're doing very, very well right now, but the other thing too, that it also brings is death too, so let's take a look at that a second. You tell a child that at 18 you're going to collect 6 figures. What kind of incentive is that to go to school, stay in school, all that. So, we give the Native American youth, like all the time in the world. They don't have to be educated, and they have a lot of money, and that's just a recipe for, bad things to happen right there. And so you'll see, when the underlying currents of having that casino revenue money is because they took away our culture, and they're not teaching us to go back to the culture. Drugs and alcohol. We are a wounded and damaged, culture and society. So, so drugs and alcohol go, trauma based, goes hand in hand with, with that money. So, with money takes responsibility, and with cultural, responsibility, the old ones being like the elders, we have to start going in there and telling our youth about going back to ceremonies, taking care of our grandmothers, taking care of our youth, so we can all remember that to take care of the next 7 generations.
So Standing Bear. We about to wrap up, so we got to give our last thoughts, because we got to give you your opportunity for people to find you and talk about your book. But first, I got to give it to I'm gonna give it to Will. You can't hear Will, but I'm gonna let Will, because everybody else can hear Will. Will's gonna give his last thoughts, and then I'm gonna give it to Larry after that. Yeah.
I would say my last thought would be as simple as this: you can't always believe what people put on your plate. Do the research, spread the truth, and don't be an advocate for lies, because there's been too many thus far. So thank you, my brother, for coming on to the show and educating us on things that we hear about, but giving it to us raw. So appreciate you.
Go ahead, Larry.
Absolutely. And I agree with what Will was saying as far as the Native Americans go. Please keep your story alive, keep passing down those traditions to all the generations that come after you guys, and just colonial history is what it is. A lot of us know that there's a lot of his story if you pay attention to it, but there's not a lot of truth to it. And so it's on all of us. I mean everybody, not just Native Americans, but all races, to really keep the truth alive and keep pushing the real narrative of what history is. American history is it's sickening at most aspects of it when you really think about it.
And first and foremost, Standing Bear, I want to thank you for taking the time out and talk with us, because I don't feel like y'all story is spoken about enough. Not a lot of people know what the indigenous people went through in this country. You know what I'm saying? This is the country that y'all were already here. Coming from an African American background, we understand what suffering is. You know what I'm saying? So we'll always feel for other people that have suffered in this country through, hands of, colonial, or however you want to put it, you know what I'm saying, colonizers, however you want to put it. So we understand all of that. So we share that common bond when it comes to suffering. So thank you so much for enlightening us. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate your time. And now I'm going to give it to you so you can talk to the people and break that fluid out for them.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for having me. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Wayne Snellgrove on Facebook. I do a morning meditation where we go over a couple of books. We go over the books that I've written here. Daily Medicine is my first book, and also Whispers from the Hollow Bones, my second book. I have about 4 or 5 books lined up after this, so I do a lot of writing. So yeah, thank you. And again, it's one of those things that I have to say every time and everywhere that I go. Man, if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, and that just simply means I just want the very best for you. I want nothing from you, but I want the very best for you. I mean, I want you to live the best life. I want you to live an awesome life. I want you to live a safe life. I want you to, remember your children, remember your ancestors, remember that we are part of something. That's really what I mean by I love you. It's kind of offering, like I offer you a safe place right here, any place you need to go to. And so if I can have just another 30 seconds, can I have another 30 seconds?
Let's do it.
a big shout out, thank you to the Lions Den, all the hosts. I apologize for the technical difficulty, but again, there's a beautiful message here, and the beautiful message is that we can do this together. We can celebrate life together. We can have a beautiful life together. It doesn't matter if you're indigenous or black or white or anything. We can do this together. That's what the Spirit tells us. So if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. And thank you to all the hosts for having me on. And I feel so honored to be here and to share a little bit of wisdom. So thank you.
Hey, on behalf of I want to thank you for coming on, man. I know he really wanted to be a part of this show. He's in the background working hard. And so on behalf of him, I want to thank you. And I also want to thank everybody for watching and being interactive with this show. This show is not possible without you guys. So please make sure you share this, man, because, again, a lot of people don't know about what happened with the indigenous people. So we only scratched the top of the iceberg. There's a lot more information out there. So thank you. Hey, Wayne, stay on for a little bit after this, but we're out, y'all. Take care.